Okay, so we're talking about circles and circumference today. So first of all, let's name this circle. The center of the circle is E. So we call this circle circle E, which can also be written like a circle with a dot in the middle, E. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Same picture. Now we need to name a radius of the circle. E. We call the circle circle E. Okay? The circle is named E. Yes. Okay, so name a radius of the circle. First of all, let's define radius. Radius is when you have the endpoints are the center and a point on the circle. So for instance, name the radii. Okay, let's go from the center out. E what? EA. What else? EB. ED. EC. I'm going to highlight them. EA would be here. Good. EB would be here. EG would be here. EC would be here. So these, the plural form of a radius would be these are radii. Each one of them is a radius. And together we call them the radii. Plural form of radius is radii. May I go? Name a chord of the circle. So let's define chord. A chord has both endpoints on the circle. On being the operative word. So say it again. AC, BD, AD, AB. Good job. Each one of those, AC is right here, on the circle, endpoints are on the circle. BD is right here. AD is right here. And AB is right here. So those, all of these have their endpoints on the circle. So these are chords. Moving on. Last one, name a diameter. Let's define diameter. The diameter is a chord, actually, but specifically a chord that passes through the center. Mm-hmm. So just like Jordan said, AC, and BD are both diameters. Just bus power. Questions? Now, that's the basics. Okay, so go ahead and draw this one. I'm going to use this one for two different pictures. I'm sorry, for two different examples. Okay, so number 2 says, circle R has diameters ST. So here's one, let me change my color. Here's ST and QM. Okay, I'm not going to draw on the QM. If ST equals 18, find RS. I'm looking for RS. So basically, we need to define the fact that a radius is half the diameter. This should all be reviewed, correct?
Yes.
Radius is half the diameter. So, R equals half of D is my formula. If I'm looking for RS, it's going to be equal to half of one of the diameters, and we know one of them is 18. So RS equals, didn't quite come out right, 9. I don't want you to think of it as an equation. It is.
We can't just say R equals 9, just have to show it out.
No. No, I wouldn't ask you to write out the formula, no. But there's nothing that's going to be this simple. Okay? It's going to go a lot more complex, so don't worry about it. Okay. And again with this one, this is just basically, I know it sounds like baby stuff, but I've got to make sure that everybody understands, right, the basics. So for this one it says, same picture, circle R has diameters ST and QM. If RN is 2, so this time RN, they're giving us is 2, find RP, which is right here. Well, they're the same, right? So basically all I really want to say about this is that since all radii are what? Congruent, thank you. RP must be equal to 2. So let's look at this one. So go ahead and draw this picture. It looks more complicated than it is. Just draw the picture and let's make sense of it. Okay, so let's label this. It's not as hard as it seems. So I'm going to go ahead and change the thickness of this. I'm going to make it a straight line. Perfect. All right, so let's first talk about, it says circle X, circle Y, and circle Z are 22, 16, and 10. So this diameter, it said, is 22. This diameter is 16. Put this one below so you can see it. And finally, this diameter is 10. It asked me to find EZ, which is easier than you think. You see what I did there? So if I wanted to find EZ, I already know EF, right? EF is 22. So I know EF. I'm just going to have to add FZ to it. So EF is 22. If FG is 10, then FZ is 5. See what I did there? If the diameter is 10, then the radius is 5. So I just added 5 to it for a total of 27. So Connor, you see why I'm saying no, you don't have to use the formula? These are going to be a lot more complex. I don't need the 16. I found E to F. I found at this point right here. So I only need this point to this point. Nope. All I need is F to Z. You see it? If I need to go from here to here, I already know from here to here. So I just need a little bit more. It's just going through the information that you've got, right? And picking apart what you need from it. All right, let's move on. Let's compare and contrast these two equations. All right, I'm not a big fan of two equations that say the exact same thing. So compare and contrast this for me. Why do I say that these two equations are the exact same thing?
Two radius equals one diameter.
Two radii make one diameter, right? So why do I need two? I don't. And let's say something about this right now. Did you know that if you take the circumference of anything, so let's say it's my head, especially babies, they take the circumference of your head when you grow up, when you're born, and then when you go to the doctor, they keep measuring your head to see, make sure that your head's growing. Is that interesting? So it's funny because they'll, people, well, how big is your baby's head? I don't remember. No, I don't. But people will ask that. Okay, so just like how much did you weigh? Okay, so if you take the circumference of your head, and if you were able to measure the diameter of your head, right straight through it, it will equal 3.14. If you take the Earth and you measure the circumference of the Earth and then draw a line straight through the middle of the Earth and divide the two, it will equal 3.14. Yes, it will. If you take a cell and you measure the circumference of the cell and then measure the diameter of the cell, it will equal 3.14. How cool is that? It is possible. I think that's a challenge. It is a challenge. I will show you that no matter what, if you have a perfect circle, if you measure the circumference and divide it by the diameter, you will always have 3.14.
So you guys know the question on the test. What is the circumference of the circle? And it's on that 3.14.
No, I didn't say that. I said if you take the circumference and divide it by the diameter.
How do you know to divide it by the diameter?
It's no matter what. If you took the outside of this circle and divide it by how far it is across, you will always get 3.14. Always. So the way we got this formula right here, how would I solve for C on this problem right here? Multiply both sides by D. Cancel. Cancel. C equals pi times D. That's where this came from. And I have a video that shows you how pi not only works for that, but works for a lot of other interesting things too. We're going to watch a video as soon as we finish this lesson. Okay. So, write this one down. If r equals 13, we're going to find c. So I don't need that other formula, right? If I want to find the circumference of something, circumference equals, guys, circumference equals pi times the diameter. Well, I don't have the diameter in this case, but I do know that I have a radius, and I know a diameter is 2 times a radius. Why memorize both formulas when they both mean the same thing? It's just one extra formula in your head. So C equals 26 pi. Now let me just say that 26 pi is the exact answer to this problem. But if you'd like something that looks more numerical, you would say, I'm going to put this in a calculator, which normally you'd multiply by 3.1415, which is approximately 81 and 6/800. Now, why do I say that this answer is exact and this is approximate? Because 3.14 is exact, but 3.14 goes on forever. So literally goes on forever. So no matter what, you've got to stop sometime, and you just rounded when you stopped. I wanted to...
You can't get like a straight, like 81 answer.
Never.
Never, ever.
Never, ever. It goes on forever. Infinite.
So you're saying that if you want to...
It is an irrational number. It never stops. Okay. So this one's pretty easy, but let's just skip over this one. We don't need that. What if they give me the circumference, but I don't know the diameter? Pi equals pi times, C equals pi times diameter. If they gave me the circumference, all I need to do is, what did you say, Connor? Divide by pi. So as I divide by pi, pi cancels out, and I'm left with the diameter equals 65 4/10 divided by pi. Well, if you want to see the answer I'm going to give for the homework tomorrow, it would be 20.84.
But technically, we don't have to go past that.
You need to go here to get the answer that I'm going to give you tomorrow because it's done in decimals, but you'll see in 1 second what I mean. Okay? Give me 1 second. I'm almost there. Almost there. Ready? So here's the last problem. So draw this circle, and we need to find the exact circumference. And this is where we need to leave it in that pi form. Because exact means don't turn it into a decimal and round. You need the exact value. So there's a few things here that we've got. First of all, we've got the hypotenuse of a right triangle. So I could use a couple different things here. What do I automatically think when I see a right triangle? First thing I think is Pythagorean. Right? So I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I already have my c squared, right? I just need a and b. Well, I've got two unknowns here, or do I? Do I have two unknowns? I have one unknown. Why do I only have one unknown? Because if this is a 90-degree angle, these all radii are congruent. So not only do I know that, what else do I know? Anybody else see what else I know? Connor?
Diameter.
I don't know the diameter. Well, it's 2 x's. The diameter would be 2 x's. But I'm trying to find the circumference. So what else do I know about this triangle in here? It's a 45, 45, 90. If it's a 45, 45, 90, isn't it a hypotenuse always larger by rad 2? So isn't each one of these 3? It pays off to know your previous chapters. Right? If you know your 45, 45, 90, you don't even have to do Pythagorean theorem. You can say, it's 3 because the hypotenuse is larger by root 2. So now I know the radius. Let's find the circumference. Circumference equals pi times diameter. Circumference equals pi times not 3, but
9.
6. Isn't 3 plus 3 6? Well, across it would be 6. That's my answer. Why is 6 pi my answer? Because it needs to be exact. All right, that's it for the lesson today.